Purple.
We roll to green, and in Alabama, we are racing. A great start from the pole sitter, Alex Palou, with the immediate advantage coming down into turn one. McLaughlin has a look, but thinks better of it.
Not much of a break zone in turn one. They're going to be 2 and 3 wide through turn three of many different lanes. Look on the outside. That's one of the Meyer Shang machines getting around Joseph Newgarden. Everybody playing nice, but what happens when we've got to hit the brakes for the first time in 5?
3 McLaren teammates starting nose to tail. They fan out with Pato Award trying to catch up to the 2 of Nolan Siegel and Christian Lundgaard. The 3 orange cars, papaya cars going forward.
Lundgaard and Siegel almost making contact. Siegel will have the inside line and has the advantage coming down the hill through the quick chicane. I think there was some contact at the back just at the start there. One of the Premers looking very squirrely through those corners, but it's Alex Palou who has the immediate advantage over Scott McLaughlin. Colton Herta, Will Power, no change on the top 2 rows as everybody wiggles around through the fast sweepers.
There goes Rasmussen on the inside of Newgarden. That's the softs to the hards. You see the red side wall. Oh, look, it's trying to come back on the outside.
The body language of that car and of that driver, he does not want to hang around. He's made up so many places already in these opening laps. As we look back from Pato O'Ward towards Alexander Rossi, who's up and on the inside and trying to nudge his nose ahead of the McLaren. Where do they blend, though, in comparison to Lundgaard? There is Lundgaard coming through. Will go side by side with his teammate. Pato O'Ward just gets the jump on his teammate Lundgaard.
So he has track position, but he does not have tire temp. Lundgaard will be in full send mode, looking to Lundgaard right here into turn 5. Here it comes.
Up the inside on his teammate, gets his elbows out and says thank you very much, Pato, who will try to fight it back on the run down and underneath the bridge.
Pato O'Ward might try to come back on him, but tire temp's still an issue for Pato O'Ward. He'll need another lap until his Firestones are ready to go.
Now is he going to try to lunge down the inside of 17? McLaughlin defensive going in, but he's going around the outside, inside of 17 for Lundgaard. Great pass.
That is gorgeous from Christian Lundgaard. What a drive from this young man who has impressed so much time and again, race after race in 2025.
He just passed the car that was running straight up third, and he just said, see ya.
Herta is also putting on a used set of reds. This is an important pit stop for the team if they want to keep their position.
Oh, no!
Not again.
Oh!
A stall for Colton Herta as he tried to get away. I tell you, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
There goes Lundgaard. There goes McLaughlin. Here comes Will Power. There's Pato O'Ward. Colton Herta lost 3 positions there, maybe 4.
And another.
Oh,
man.
Oh, my goodness.
Kiss the podium goodbye, but now it's VK on cold tires defending against Power. He's so good around here. Both of these drivers so good around here. Renus elbows out, not letting Power get the jump.
And here comes Pato O'Ward up on the inside of Will Power. It's a fight between the 3 of them, and VK hanging on the cold tires.
Can't get the fuel unplugged for Armstrong. He lost about 4 or 5 seconds as the fueler was stuck. Watch for the blend. Alexander Rossi is probably who we're looking for in terms of, and he goes flying by. So that's a big penalty for the 66 with the fuel probe.
And he now has Santino Ferrucci up the inside. Wonderful move from Ferrucci. Joseph Newgarden now having another look up the inside, but he's not quite close enough and aware all the time that any small mistake from him will allow Nolan Siegel through, who's having an impressive day out there.
Great job by Marcus Armstrong on the harder compound tire with less grip and cold temperatures.
We very nearly had our first caution, believe it or not. Off went Louis Foster, skidding through the gravel and the grass, then crept along by the side of the track and just kept it going.
Huge pit stop for Dale Coyne. On the right front. The wheel nut has gone missing. Precious few seconds lost. Defending on cold tires. Here comes Will Power.
Another sticker set of the soft Firestones on the 18 of Rinus VK. He said did it once before. He's got a bit wide. That's going to open the door for Power on the back straight. Down into turn 8. It's a drag race.
But Power's going to have to go the long way round. Gets tucked up underneath him. If he's going to try a pass here, it will have to be bold, but he won't because he knows that he can't.
Rinus VK delivering under pressure on this outlap. We'll see an onboard replay here for Santino Ferrucci in exactly this moment 1 lap ago. Let's watch and listen.
Oh, man!
VK with a great run on the button probably right here as they come to turn 5.
He is on the button, moves to the inside. Will break as late as he dare.
It's on. McLaughlin's going to have trouble. This is good stuff.
Mr. Perfect, Alex Palou will do it again. Untouchable, undeniable, inevitable. It's going to be 3 wins from the opening 4 races for Alex Palou.
Yes! Let's go, boys! Woo-hoo! Yes! Oh, man! You guys are the best! What a car!
And it's not over yet. There is VK tucked up behind Scott McLaughlin in the red and white car ahead of him. He has one final chance. I don't think he's quite going to get there. But a 4th place for VK behind McLaughlin and Lundgaard. That is your podium. Palou, Lundgaard, McLaughlin. But VK for Dale Coyne with a 4th place.
Up next is the Sonsio Grand Prix, Saturday, May 10th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Good evening. This is the Push to Pass podcast, episode number 78. I am Derik Vance. I'll bring in my co-host here shortly, but that was, I wish I could say exciting, an exciting race Sunday, but I'm going to have to beg to differ. But I'm sure Michael and Josh will have strong opinions about that and more as we recap and discuss what we watched, what we witnessed this past weekend in Birmingham, Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park, the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix. Like we said, we will review and discuss that. We have some driver interviews that we'll get to here later in the show also. If you did not see them yet, we will have the results, up-to-date point standings, and then race picks as well. You know, that is my favorite segment of the show, but also too this evening, we will be kicking off our month of May coverage. I know all 3 of us here are overly excited for that, obviously. So we'll preview what's going to take place this weekend at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course portion of the month of May with the Sonsio Grand Prix. We'll get into that. And then later in the show, Mike's going to join us after his 2-week hiatus, I do believe, review what was the bets for Barber this past weekend, and then preview a little bit the Sonsio Grand Prix, as we mentioned. And then I know everybody's favorite segment, no, Josh, it's not tires, but our official weatherman of the Push to Pass podcast is going to join us to talk weather for this weekend. And you want to talk about the picture perfect, stay tuned for that for sure. Also, we have some news and notes to go over. I know we have TV ratings from Barber that were released earlier today, so kind of curious to get everyone's take on those. But before we do all of that, I do want everybody that is watching currently, please like and share the video of the stream. I know we're over on YouTube, X, Twitter, depending on what generation you grew up in, and then Instagram as well. So if you're on any 3 of those platforms and you're watching us currently, first and foremost, thank you for that. But if you would please like and share the stream. So like I said, let's bring in the other 2 co-hosts that make up the Push to Pass podcast. First, as you see over to, it would be my right, Josh is here, and then down below there, not to be outdone, Michael is here as well. Josh, how was your weekend? How was your race weekend?
Oh, it was great. It was Bit chilly here in Indy, but well, let's get all that weather out of the way because we got some great days out at the track. I watched this race, and I wouldn't say it was as boring as you said, but it was not as eventful as it could be. My affinity for oval racing, I love it better than any of the streets or road courses. I just feel like street and road courses become a follow the leader, and this kind of turned into it. But there were some moments that were that were suspenseful. Herta getting stuck in the pits, and the announcer at lap 45 saying he can kiss the podium goodbye. That's that's a little indicative of of knowing how of showing how bad the passing is here. That on lap 45 you're already out and you can't even get to the top three. So. But other than that, it was a good weekend, and looking forward to talking about it more and talking about May.
And like I said, last but certainly not least, Michael. I know he is very opinionated, and if I know he'll talk about it later in the show, but I'm going to promote what his work here today. Go over to yournews.com, and Michael did post earlier his winners and losers from Barber from this past weekend. I know he'll probably talk about these here in a few minutes. But Michael, I know you had you took part in the mini marathon this past weekend. How did that go for you?
Yeah, took part in that. It was a good weekend for me. I set a new personal record, took a lap around the speedway, so that was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a good weekend. A lot of racing going on. IndyCar was really good. So I thought it was a really good race, purist race. So yeah, tire strategy was there. I think you had all the strategy you could want if you're a purist race fan. But yeah, it was kind of rough unless you were the 10 car. But yes, like you said, I did post winners and losers, and we can talk about those here in a little bit.
Yeah, we will definitely get into those. But before we do that, let's get into my 5 takeaways that, like I mentioned, with Michael's work, you can find these over at yournews.com under the auto racing section. Love to hear feedback from eCar Nation as to what they, if they agree, if they disagree, or anything of the sort when it comes to the takeaways that I had. First and foremost, again, I don't know how many more times we're going to say that this year. Heck, it could be 17 at this rate. But again, huge congratulations, obviously, goes out to Alex Pillow and the whole number 10 HRC crew for Chip Ganassi Racing. As on today, they captured, or Alex and his crew captured their 3rd win of the 2025 season after a dominating performance, to say the least, at the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. And let's get into that, shall we? All right, my 5 takeaways, starting with number 5, and I know they mentioned this on the broadcast, but my first takeaway from this, if the graphic does come up here, hopefully, there we go. Again, 3rd straight race, guys, no cautions. If you can believe it or not, it has been now 339 straight laps without a caution. The last time that the caution flag got any TV time whatsoever was, if you remember, back in the season opener at St. Petersburg on lap number 1. I thought about this for a minute, and I know, Michael, you cover NASCAR a little bit, you dabble into that, you have more knowledge of NASCAR than me and Josh will ever have combined. And don't get me wrong, NASCAR does have its great drivers, but I think it's safe to say that IndyCar drivers have to rank right up there along NASCAR drivers of how great their skills are, going now 3 straight races without a caution. Fellas, thoughts?
Yeah, 3 straight races without a caution is weird. You got other sports, other circuits that have four and five crashes, and you got the big one, as they say in NASCAR. But I think I don't know if it has to do with the owners telling the drivers, hey, don't bang and bump too much, and let's not cost me any more money, because we know that these chassis and these engines are not cheap. And you know, I feel like IndyCar, they're not cheap, but they are frugal with their money. So and as we know, in a NASCAR, you can bang and bump, and somebody can spin out and hit the wall and tap the wall and come back. Well, not with these Indy cars. You break something on these Indy cars, and you're pretty much not gonna be able to come back to the race. Um, I mean, it is what it is. It makes it adds more strategy. It adds a lot more strategy to the race, in my opinion, because now without the cautions, you have to save your tires, figure out what tires when you're gonna use your tires now. Are you gonna use them later? And fuel strategy. We're always talking about fuel strategy. There's one driver in particular that's great with fuel strategy. So not having that caution to be able to come in and pit when it's off of your schedule is a little bit challenging, trying to figure out when to pit and what to do. So I mean, we'll see. I highly doubt that we're going to get through the next 2 races, especially the one at the end of the month, without any cautions. But you never know. We could go a clean Sonsio Grand Prix and 500, but I'm not going to put my money on that.
Yeah, Josh, you stole all my topics. You take away you take some strategy away, but you also have a lot of strategy when you pit. Obviously, with the 2-tire compounds, when do you use the softs? Do you have more softs than primaries? We've seen Renus BK there towards the end of the race still have a sticker set of softs and be able to pull away from Will Power and hold on to 4th. So yeah, when we don't have cautions, you kind of have that natural flow of a race, and they go by pretty quick. I know we talked about that a little bit earlier, but yeah, I feel like it was a perfect length for a race. And these guys are just good. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where we are without the cautions. With a road course, it's so long, you don't have to throw a caution right away. If a car goes off track or things like that. So that also plays into that. But I mean, yeah, Indy's its own challenge. Like you said, I don't think we'll make it through the end of the month without a caution-free race.
Yeah, I'm definitely. You know what? I'm gonna side with Josh and Michael on that. We've witnessed again in person and on TV, especially at the IMS Road Course coming this weekend. Lap 1, turn 1, how treacherous that could be. So going to be interesting to see how the drivers tiptoe around that, because it just seems like year after year, opening the Sonsio Grand Prix, that is where the first caution normally takes place. Everybody, all 32 cars or whatever the amount is, as they all hit turn 1, somebody steps out of line and just causes an accordion effect in somebody's race. Gets taken out there. So moving on, my 4th takeaway from this past weekend's race, and I think Michael and Josh are both, I have a feeling anyway, by listening to their opening montage, that they are going to strongly disagree with my 4th takeaway, but here we go. My 4th takeaway, there was absolutely, in my opinion, zero excitement in this past weekend's race. And I can't imagine, this has to be a dream scenario for the NTT IndyCar Series, as we mentioned, now heading into the month of May and the Super Bowl event. So they say for the NTT IndyCar Series, Indianapolis 500, they're on the horizon. So like I said, this cannot be a dream scenario for IndyCar. You had, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion, very little excitement this past Sunday. You had 6 lead changes among 3 different drivers, and I know in our group text we were talking about this, but a whole lot of nose to tail driving for 90 laps. So to me, this was a little bit of a snooze fest, to say the least. Kind of curious to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to totally disagree with you because it's like I said in my opening statements. Road courses and street courses tend to be follow the leader after a couple laps or so. But like I said, there were some suspenseful moments. Herta getting stuck in the pits. VK finishing so high up in the standings was a big surprise to me, and I liked seeing that. I would have loved to see Stingray turn his momentum that he had from the last race more into this one, but he wasn't able to. But for the most part, it was a semi enjoyable race.
Yeah, I see both your points as far as, not a lot of action, but I feel when you look at the strategy and things like that, I watched, obviously BK starting up towards the front. You look at the Ed Carpenter cars, they made their way forward. I felt like it was a compelling race for just a purist standpoint. You throw the green flag and you throw the checkered flag. I'm sure Aaron up in the flag stand is getting very, very bored, but I honestly thought it was a really good race. Except if you're looking at the front, Pelot just dominated. But I think if he could go without making a pit stop, he probably would have led every lap. So yeah, I mean, IndyCar, looking at that side of things, probably isn't overly happy because you're not getting the chaos. The chaos people are probably upset, but I think it's okay to have these races every once in a while. You're looking at Pelot trying to make history, winning 3 championships back to back, first time since Franchitti did. I mean, that and winning 3 of the first 4 races, he's on a hot streak, and it could end right away. And you hear his excitement when he crossed the start finish line there. He doesn't know when his next win could be. And I know we're talking about him being so dominant, but his next win may not come for a year. So, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but you never know when the momentum's going to swing. And, he isn't overly great on ovals. And I say that he finishes, in the top 10 most of the time, but he's not dominant on the ovals. So we have a lot of those coming up, and it'll be interesting to see if he can continue this momentum.
Yeah, Michael, I think you're absolutely right, and we'll talk a little bit more about Alex Pelot here because obviously, I don't think it's a secret. My first takeaway from Barber, but we'll talk about Alex Pelot here shortly. But great segue, Michael, talking about momentum, and I thought that this team here got a great shot in the arm. In momentum coming from Barber headed into the month of May, and I thought this was Arrow McLaren. I know I may be a little bit of a homer, so to say, when it comes to Arrow McLaren, but I thought they got a great shot in the arm this past Sunday with Christian Lundgaard collecting his 3rd straight podium finish. You heard his excitement in the opener there on the radio. He finished in 2nd place, while fellow teammates Pato O'Ward, who just missed a top 5 finishing P6, and young Nolan Siegel. Huge props to Nolan Siegel, who came home with a top 10 finish in 9th. So I thought that momentum, as Michael talked about there, was grabbed by the brass ring by Arrow McLaren heading into the month of May. Your guys' reaction?
Michael, you go ahead and take the first one on this, so I don't take any of your points.
Yeah, so Arrow McLaren is definitely on the hot streak. Christian Lundgaard, he's finished top 10 all 4 races this year. I look at it this way. I think, and I wrote about it in the winners and losers. Is Lundgaard the new face at Arrow McLaren? He's definitely, challenging Pato. I mean, Pato does have a great fan base, but Lundgaard, I know I talked about it, in our preseason episode. He's a driver to watch, especially this weekend, and we can talk more about that later. But I mean, he is on fire already, and you have Pato, and great for Nolan Siegel. I know he had some food poisoning, stomach issues last race, but turn around, come back top 10. I think that's his first top 10 with Arrow McLaren. And we were talking about a few weeks ago how long is he going to stay in that car if he's going to continue to run back 15th, 20th. So great run for all 3 of them. Obviously, it's no secret that Pato is absolutely amazing at the Indy 500 coming up. So we'll see. Is this his year? I don't know. We'll kind of dive into those numbers here coming up soon. But yeah, definitely interesting to see if the momentum can continue with Arrow McLaren.
Definitely, Michael. I love all your points. The point about Lundgaard possibly becoming the new face of Arrow. For the last couple of years, we saw Pato as the face, and Lundgaard has come on like a bat out of hell, and just he's finishing in podiums. He hasn't got the win, but he's right there. I think he's hot on Pelot's heels. I still think Pelot's farther away, but and Nolan having food poisoning, I didn't know that, but being able to, I know how it is to have food poisoning and be able to get in a car and drive around for that long, and being that ill, I feel for the guy, and congratulations. Pato has had some success here at Indy, and just finishing outside the top 5 is a great catapult to get his month going here in Indy. So I've been critical of Arrow because they came on as the new kid on the block a couple years ago, and they kind of fell flat last year, towards the end of 2 years ago, and then last year I didn't think they were doing very well, but with the adding of Lundgaard and Pelot getting back into his groove, I think Arrow's going to be a team to watch out for this May.
First, I'm going to say kudos to Michael. There was another, I don't know if you want to call it podcast or video by a well-known IndyCar creator I watched earlier today. You may know him, you may not, but he brought up that same point. Is Christian Lundgaard now the new face of Arrow McLaren? And I think Michael hit it right on. As much and as popular as Pato Award is, we all know in this sport, none 3 of us are have never been behind the wheel, but we all have enough knowledge when it comes to sports that it's, what have you done for me lately? And I think Michael's absolutely right in that, is the start that Christian Lundgaard has got off to. And Josh, I know you can probably contest this a little bit when we talk about, baseball players, football players, basketball, whatever, a change of scenery and what it does to them. And I think this Christian Lundgaard falls exactly into this. He leaves Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing, who obviously is a big fan of Michael, by the way, goes to Arrow McLaren and changes scenery, and look what he's done. And he has the results to back it up. So I think Michael is absolutely spot on that. Second takeaway that I have, talking about what a momentous day for a driver this past Sunday, but Rinus VeeKay. This had to be the exact vision that Dale Coyne, again, Michael's favorite car owner, Dale Coyne had when he signed Rinus VeeKay this offseason. Obviously, this was VeeKay's best finish in the number 18 for Dale Coyne Racing. He just finishing fourth, right outside the podium, and he collected his 10th top 5 of his career in 84 starts. Obviously, this is VeeKay's best finish since finishing again right outside the top 3 P4 in 2022 at the Iowa Speedway. At that time, Rinus was in the Ed Carpenter Racing camp, and so far, and again, small sample size, 4 races, but you got to commend a solid first season for VeeKay at Dale Coyne Racing. He's 12th in points, 1 top 5 and 2 top 10. So huge day momentum wise, I thought, for Rinus VeeKay this past Sunday.
Couldn't agree more. When I looked up and saw VeeKay was up there and where he finished, I was very surprised. You don't look at, I don't look at Dale Coyne Racing as, someone that's going to put a driver up there in the top 4, but to show, he did a great job for him this past weekend, and he got him a lot of had to have gotten him a lot of points towards that what do they call it, the winner circle sponsorship points, that could help towards the end of the season. So congrats to VeeKay. Hopefully he can keep it going and help Dale Coyne be competitive this month.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The leader circle is something that absolutely everyone's looking at. And Rinus VeeKay, a change of scenery. I can't believe what that's done for him. And Derik kind of pointed that out. I actually love Dale Coyne Racing. Dale Coyne is one of those owners that you can approach just about anywhere, and he'll have a good chat with you. So I respect what he does for the series. He's the little engine that could kind of, the team that everyone kind of looks at and is like, oh, they're just out there to, fill a spot. But Rinus has come in, and you can see it week in and week out, his leadership and his experience. As young as he is, I seen a stat on X. I think it may have been Tony Donahue said that he is younger than Colton Herta and Kyle Kirkwood, which is absolutely crazy to me. I feel like we've been talking about Rinus VeeKay for like 10 years now. But, I wrote about it earlier in my winners and losers. I put him in my winner category. What big team is looking for a driver and is going to pull the trigger on him first? Because he's definitely got to be on someone's radar. He pulled away from Will Power by 10 seconds and was hunting Scott McLaughlin down towards the end of the race. So someone's looking at him, and if he can continue the momentum, unfortunately, he may not be at Dale Coyne Racing for very long.
A great point there, Michael. And I think about that, what you said. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know how much you know about IndyCar contracts. And again, I have no nada insider information, but it sticks in my mind. Isn't Will Power's contract up with Penske at the end of the year?
Yes, Will Power's contract is up at the end of the year, and I don't know if there's much talk going on there, and I can't imagine that most of the time from prior years, not necessarily experience, but just prior years, Dale Coyne really just signs a year-to-year deal. It's not like he signs drivers for 3-4 years. So, is that the right fit for Team Penske? Is Will? The one question that I keep hearing and everyone talks about is Will Power's contract. Will Power's contract. Has anyone actually asked Will Power if he wants to continue to do this, or is he at the point in his career where he's like, I've done enough? He's won the 500. He's won a championship. He leads everyone in polls. So is this just a time where he's kind of riding off into the sunset? We don't know. It might be a good question to ask him. And, he's pretty tight-lipped on a lot of that stuff. So who knows if this could be the last year we see Will Power at Team Penske, or is this the last year we see Will Power on the racetrack?
Definitely remains to be seen for sure. And now my last takeaway from this past weekend's race, and I think this is going to come to a absolute surprise to nobody if you've been paying attention to IndyCar in the past 4 years. Surprise! Yeah. Hello, Pelot. I thought Sunday for Alex Pelot was just another ho-hum Sunday drive for him as he went on to collect his third win of the season, 14th of his career, leading 81 of the 90 laps. And I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but his margin of victory, 16 seconds, was the widest margin of victory in an NTT IndyCar Series race since. Anybody have a guess before I give the answer?
I already know the answer.
Last year?
All right. Since Michael already knows the answer, such a party pooper. Josh, the last time the margin of victory was this wide was Scott Dixon in August of 2023 at Worldwide Technology Raceway right outside St. Louis, when Scott Dixon won by 22 seconds. That's the last time that was such a dominant performance by one driver. And as a side note, did I mention with Pelot's third win of the season, he padded his points lead to 60 now? Can you believe that? He has a 60-point lead over Christian Lundgaard. Pelot also surpassed a significant milestone in his career. He led his 1,000th career lap in the NTT IndyCar Series. Pelot reached that mark in just his 85th career start. That's 14 races sooner than his iconic teammate, six-time champion Scott Dixon, reached 1,000 laps led. So think about that for a minute. And, oh, by the way, just on a side note, if anybody didn't know this, the 3-time and 2-time reigning and defending series champion, we're going to Indianapolis Road Course this weekend. We've talked about it. We'll talk more about it as the show unfolds. He's won the last 2 races there. So just keep that in mind as well. But overall, dominating performance again. It seems like we're beating a dead horse here week in and week out. But dominating performance, Alex Pelot.
I mean, what more can we say about the guy? He wins. I mean, that's all there's a song, all I do is win, win, win. That was made for Alex Pelot. I mean, 3 out of the 4 races going into the race where he's the 2-time defending champion. I mean, somebody from IndyCar, somebody, one of these other teams got to figure out something to slow him down. I don't know how you do it, but because if he could, pull off the doubleheader, if he could win both the Sonsio and the 500, not only would he be a surefire Hall of Famer, in my opinion, getting that 500 under his belt, getting that monkey off his back, and winning both races. I mean, I don't know if anybody be able to catch him the rest of the year even with as many races as we have. He's a machine, and what surprises me, I mean, with all the wins, every time you hear him on the radio after he passes over the start finish line and takes the checker flag, he is so excited. I mean, he always says, "We did it." It's not, "Hey, I did it, I won." It's, "We did it." He gives the props to his team and everyone that helps him out. So he's so humble for a two-time Sonsio Grand Prix winner. It's going to be kind of tough for anyone to beat him this coming Saturday.
Yeah, not much more you can say. Pelot is just being Pelot. I mean, I think about this, and I did some research this week on when is the last time that, you know, a driver has had this many wins this early in a season, and you have to go back and I have it here to 2006. Sebastian Bourdais won 8 races, and that was under the kart championship at that time with the IndyCar split. But you know, 8 wins. I feel like Pelot may get there if he wins this weekend, and like Josh says, if he can win the 500 too. I mean, we're talking history in the making if this can happen. And Pelot is definitely a Hall of Famer. I mean, we could write him in the Hall of Fame right now. He's just that good of a driver. The big question that I would like to know is, where's his teammates at? I mean, that's the big thing. Like, normally, you know, Dixon's up there in the mix, but I mean, Dixon's not even relevant this year much. So, I mean, what's happening over at Chip Ganassi Racing is the 10 team kind of got everything kind of tight knit, and they're not kind of sharing as much information with the other 2 teams. I mean, you know, Kiffin Simpson was running good this weekend until, you know, he had his issue on pit road. But I mean, overall, the 10 team is gelling, but the other 2 cars aren't. So that's what I look at with Chip Ganassi Racing, is what is happening within the organization, that the 10 car is just that much better than the organization as a whole.
Before we wrap up our discussion on Alex Pelot, and Josh mentioned something that it fired up a question in the old noodle up here. What's the bigger story Memorial Day Monday? Is it Kyle Larson completing both the Indianapolis 500 and Coca-Cola 600 in auto racing? What's the bigger story? Kyle Larson completing the double, or, if it happens, Alex Pelot sweeping both races in May? What's the bigger storyline?
Kyle Larson completing it if he can make all 1,100 laps. 1,100 miles. Kyle Larson, just because, I mean, here in Indy, it'll be Pelot, but national media wise, in my opinion, it'll be Larson.
Josh, unfortunately, I believe you're correct, but it shouldn't be. I mean, it really shouldn't be. I mean, unfortunately, it's like beating a dead horse at this point. Like, Kyle Larson 100% deserves all the credit he gets. Great race car driver, not NASCAR driver. Look what he did last year in IndyCar. Look what he does in the sprint cars. I mean, the guy can drive just about anything. I'm pretty sure he could drive Bobby Boucher's lawnmower better than Bobby did. So, I mean, yes, Kyle Larson completing that feat, but realistically, the 600 is nothing for him. He's already done that. And he's done the Indy 500. He's just not done it in 2 days, or in the same day, back to back. So realistically, if Pelot sweeps the weekend or sweeps the month, let's be honest, he would sweep the month of May, because Barber was in May. So he would sweep the 3 races in May. He would sweep all of them. That is a crazy story. And that would make him 5 of 6 races, right? No, it'd be 6 of 7. I don't know where the math is there. But, I mean, he'd win everything except for 1 race. And then there's an even bigger topic if that happens. We're talking, we can talk about a little bit more, but Chevrolet, that's a big topic that I talked about this week as well.
Michael, I think the math, if Pelot was to sweep both, he's won 3 out of 4. That would give him 5 out of 6. I believe if my math's right there. Yeah, 5 out of 6. That's what I thought. I'm glad Josh, the mathematician over there, had that fired up. But yeah, that would be 5 wins out of 6 races in the 2025 season if Alex Palou was able to take off that feat. All right. Well, let's get to some results here. I know Mike's going to be joining us here just in a little bit to review some bets over the weekend. But let's take a look at the results from the race on Sunday. Obviously, if you're just joining us, you missed a lot. But Alex Palou picks up his 3rd win in 4 races this season. Christian Lundgaard collected his 3rd straight podium, and Scott McLaughlin in the meat wagon was the last one on the podium for Sunday. Then it was Rinus VeeKay, Will Power, Pato Award, Colton Herta, Alexander Rossi, Nolan Siegel, and Joseph Newgarden rounded out the top 10. Then followed them Kyle Kirkwood, Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenquist, Graham Rahal, Christian Rasmussen, David Malukas, Marcus Armstrong, Santino Ferrucci, Connor Daly, Marcus Ericsson rounded out the top 20. Then it was Kiffin Simpson, followed by Stingray Robb, Callum Ilott, Devlin DeFrancesca, Robert Schwartzman, the highest finishing rookie, Louis Foster, and Jacob Abel rounded out the 27 car field. All right, getting through that, let's head over and look at the newest or up-to-date point standings as they show right now. I know that's tough to see. I'm trying to find a graphic that can better illustrate the points, because I know that is so tough to see. So let me see when I can find a better one of that. But Alex Palou, again, up on Christian Lundgaard by 60 points after 4 races. Kyle Kirkwood, Pato Award, Scott McLaughlin, Felix Rosenquist, Scott Dixon, Colton Herta, Will Power, Alexander Rossi round out your top 10. Then it is Joseph Newgarden, Rinus VeeKay, Marcus Ericsson, Marcus Armstrong, Santino Ferrucci, Graham Rahal, Kiffin Simpson, David Malukas, Christian Rasmussen, Nolan Siegel round out your top 20. Then it's Stingray Robb, Connor Daly, Robert Schwartzman, Callum Ilott, Louis Foster, Devlin DeFrancesca, and Jacob Abel round out the top 27 when it comes to points. Fellas, anybody there on the points that is higher than what you expected them to be early this season?
No, as I squint, it looks about the same as I thought it would be. Maybe Scott Dixon being a little higher, but other than that, it looks about how I thought it'd go.
Yeah, not too surprising, honestly, when I look at the championship points. I'm trying to pull. Yes, here, I just found it. The leader circle, I know Josh touched on that a little bit ago. The big thing right now is that 2 of the 3 Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars, the 30 and the 45, are outside the leader circle. So that's a big blow to them if they can't find some momentum. And then, both the Juncos Hollinger racing cars are 21st and 22nd. So that'll be definitely something interesting to watch going on later into the season there.
All right, before we get Mike on here to talk about the betting aspect of IndyCar this past weekend and to preview what we have coming up this weekend, let's take a look at our picks. I know this is my least favorite segment, as you can see, for obvious reasons. But this past weekend, like I said, we did send these out. I went with Scott McLaughlin, loved the history there, coming in being the 2-time defending champion. You see how that worked out. Josh went with Christian Lundgaard, who he just missed padding his lead there a little bit. But Michael, again, going out on a limb, taking Alex Palou. He picks up his first victory of the year. And then you see our guest picker there, 0 for 2. She's still getting her feet wet a little bit, so to say. She went with Will Power. And the reasoning behind her going with Will Power, guys, believe it or not, she thinks he has the most interesting name in the NTT IndyCar series, and she likes the color of his car, the cherry bomb red. Now, I think the most interesting name in IndyCar is Josh's favorite, Stingray Robb, but she had other ideas, and that's what the picks look like after 4 races. And Michael, you were the winner this week, so I'll let you brag yourself up there a little bit.
No bragging. Just I was shocked that no one else picked him, so I picked him. I mean, how do you right now? And Mike is going to join us and probably say the same thing. But how do you bet against him? I mean, at the end of the day, how do you bet? Oh, speaking of, that's my thing. How do you bet against Palou right now?
And to bring in the expert that can talk about that, Mike, I know he's been on a little bit of a hiatus as of late, other obligations that he has to attend to. But Mike, Michael's right. Right now, how can you bet against Alex Palou?
You have to find other ways to bet so he doesn't make you lose money. Like I had to get creative. I had a Palou, Lando Norris top 3 bet that cashed. I had a Palou, Scotty Scheffler bet that cashed. I did not have, but Tony had a Palou Indiana Pacers bet that cashed. So like, if you gotta get creative. Like it's hard to pay less than 2-1 on an IndyCar driver, but I mean, this is unprecedented. Like he's got the hybrid figured out, and his team's got the hybrid figured out, and he's just destroying everybody. It was like a 14-second win or something. I'm sure you guys covered it. The fun for me this weekend was, I was on McLaughlin. I bet McLaughlin pre-quals at like 5-1. I was going for the 3-peat, and when Palou got the pole and McLaughlin was second, I kind of knew I was screwed, which is why I did all those parlays. Just had a bad feeling, but I did have a pretty big bet on McLaughlin top 3, and that's kind of the way you got to play. Like you gotta hope that you can find matchups and top 3s and podium bets, and then just ignore the fact that Palou is going to blow everybody out of the water and bet the top 3s. And look, that McLaughlin top 3 bet was fun. I mean, I don't know how. I ended up having to listen to the end of the race on the radio, and they were talking it up like, VK was going to catch him. I don't think it was as close as maybe they were just trying to find something to cheer for. So, but it was a good sweat worrying about cashing that McLaughlin top 3. That came through. So still made money, just had to do it without betting Palou to win, or betting Palou to win with other things where I could make it a little more worth it, in terms of the odds. And nothing's going to change this week really either. So yeah, it's tough. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, definitely not a lot going to change this weekend, as you said. I know I touched on Palou, Palou being the defending 2-time champion here, and I would be shocked. I would be shocked if somebody other than Alex Palou at the end of the day on Saturday is hoisting the Sonsio Grand Prix trophy, because he is in right now, I think, another stratosphere than all of the other IndyCar drivers. And I think you're absolutely right to the point you made up that he has mastered this hybrid engine system. If memory serves me correctly, when it was being bantered about, he was one of the ones advocating to go to the hybrid system. So that ought to tell you that Alex Palou knows a thing or two when it comes to this hybrid engine system, and he is showing how dominant he can be when he's got this thing figured out and dialed in.
Yeah, I was quickly looking to see if there was any odds for this weekend. It'll be interesting to see if they post him. They might post him at better than even money. Even money might be a bet. I don't think you guys have known me for a while. I never, ever would say that. I don't think I like betting anybody in IndyCar under 3-1 because of the parity. But he's screwed up all the parity. So, I'm going to stick, from a betting perspective, I'm going to look for matchups. I'm going to look for top 3s. I'm going to play on Grid Rival where you can mess around, even though, Grid Rival is cool. It's tough. You got to be on top of it it's hard to make money on parlays. I think I think this weekend, like, I think you actually could get the exact same top three. I think Lundgaard is live this weekend. He's really good at this track. I think McLaughlin, I just think, is a stud, period. I mean, I have championship bets on him, which Pallou's going to probably spoil. Josh is no dummy. You guys, I saw your pick'em thing. I think you guys need to change it to a one and done. I'll give a little plug for the Apex Insiders crew. They're doing a one and done tournament this year, which has been a ton of fun, where you get to pick one driver one time and that's it. So I used actually Palou at Thermal. So like, I'm very happy I actually got a win. It's one of those things where if you use him and he doesn't win, you'd be pissed, but that's it. I'm done with him. So I'll probably come back with Lundgaard, but yeah, one driver, one time. It's a great way to kind of to play a different type of pool. But so this weekend, man, we'll see what the odds drop. I don't expect a ton, and then hopefully we'll get a full menu for the Indy 500 coming up here, where we get to bet props and bet a ton of other things. But it'll be find ways to creatively bet Palou, like pair him up with a basketball game, pair him up with maybe a golfer like I did, pair him up with something you feel pretty comfortable with at a minus number, just to kind of bump his number up or get a little bit of action, or just bet the top threes. And I think Lundgaard, McLaughlin, Power, like that's probably like where my eyes will go for this week. And I'll see if I can get a 2-1 on any of those top three, then I'll grab that. And like I said, I'm invested the most in the McLaughlin top three this week, and it paid off. And I lost all the McLaughlin win bets, but because of Palou, but everything else, that one came in.
Josh, Michael, anything betting wise you want to ask Mike here before he needs to run?
No, I mean betting the basketball game with the driver would be good. Wish they had do they have like a trifecta like they do for horse racing, where you can bet them in order?
DraftKings. So DraftKings treats the drivers like horses. If you see me, I've poked fun at that on X because it's ridiculous. Like they did that with F1, I heard way back in the day, and they got rid of it. Like I hope they get rid of it. Look, the books make a huge hold percentage on those kind of bets, so that's why they're doing it. Like they're just trying to make as much money off of anybody that wants to bet IndyCar. But they're probably, I was actually advocating for a McLaughlin Palou 1-2 show bet. It didn't come in, obviously, but it's confusing. Most people who are betting now, who are of the 18 to 35-year-old demographic, or maybe a little older, don't understand horse betting and superfectas and trifectas and win place shows. I mean, I only have a small understanding of it from a couple trips to the track in Vegas in my days, but hopefully DraftKings gets rid of that, and most of the books are just still posting the top threes. But you can do that on DraftKings. You can bet superfectas and trifectas and round robins and win place shows, and they treat the drivers like they're horses. It's kind of funny.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into that. Yeah,
it depends on what state you're in. Like, I don't know. Indiana's got DraftKings, right? I know they have Caesars.
Yep.
FanDuel.
Yeah, we have.
So you guys,
we have all of them.
You guys got options. So like little old me in Florida here, it's Hard Rock and that's it. And Hard Rock is now, I've learned that after the practice in the morning on Sunday, they pretty much don't post lines again. They just don't care. So you have to get all your bets in before, or I think we actually did get lines. I tweeted at them. So I guess maybe I'm getting some sort of pull, but they did post lines, and that's how I got the McLaughlin top three. So they might not do it again. But we'll see. But at least you guys got options, and shop around for the best number. And look, maybe shop around for the best Palou number. At least in the end, you got multiple books. You can look and see once they all post their numbers, probably Wednesday or Thursday. Hey, who's got the best Palou number? And just fire away. If it's got a plus next to it, it might be pretty good.
Michael, anything that you want to add here before we have to let Mike go?
Yeah, just that the radio was doing a really good job, because VK was only 3/10 behind Scotty Mack. I think if there was probably 2 more laps, you would have lost out on that bet. So,
yeah, that's the fun of betting, right? Like, so yeah, Pelot ran away with the race. That's what I'm trying to like tell people in any car that I listen. I've told Doug Bowles before, and like, hey, like, yeah, Pelot just won that race by 15, 16, 14 seconds, whatever it was. But I was sitting there staring at the TV still, or wanting and listening to the radio after I had to get up and walk away for something. Like, still like, is what's going to happen to third? And I was also, I had some money on a Felix versus Rossi matchup, and they always seem to be attached to each other, 9, 10, 10th, 11th. They were a little bit apart in this race, but like hoping something would happen to Rossi in the pits that Felix would get ahead because I was on the Felix end. So there's still stuff the betting can make other things exciting when some dude's running away from your race. Like, trust me, I cared greatly about that McLaughlin top 3. And when I'm listening to this VK catching him part, I'm like, oh God, please don't let him. Like, I would have been pissed if he ended up 4th. And I still don't know how Lundgaard even jumped him, but I think, I know Scotty went off strategy and went, I think, red, black versus red, black, red, or whatever it is. So I'm also interested, by the way, I didn't mention it, but like the whole new tire thing, I don't know if you guys touched on that. Like, maybe that brings Pelot back to the field, the fact that they got to use 2 of each set. So I'd pay attention this week, like listen to what the drivers have to say. Maybe it doesn't seem like he's stoppable, and he does fine on both the tires. I saw them comparing his pace, and it was the best period. So maybe it makes him blow him away even more. The fact that pay attention, and then that's where you get that's where the books are just copy and pasting on IndyCar. They're not paying too much attention, and you can make some dollars and at least enjoy the race. And then we got Indy 500 time where we're going to get some props and some stuff. I don't think I've been on the podcast to tell you guys, like, right now, 2 Indy 500 bets. I have a bet on Award that I made in January, I think at 8-1 or 9-1. And I took Scotty Mack at 10-1. I think he's going to be top 3, and he might learn from last year. And I'm on the Scotty Mack and Ed Pato train for the Indy 500. I think those will be my only win bets. And then unless we see something with Pelot with the hybrid, and then it'll be props after that.
Mike, definitely look forward to talking more betting here when the Indianapolis 500 officially counts down after Saturday's race. I'll be looking forward to you tweeting out or Xing out, maybe, I don't know, the odds for this weekend, and then looking if you and Tony will have a spaces. But as always, huge thank you for joining us. And then for people that don't follow you, shame on them, but where can they find your work at?
Yeah, what you see on the screen at Indy_bet. So tweet out the cards, tweet out my thoughts, all free. Up to you if you want to fade or follow.
Definitely give it a follow. Mike, as always, a huge thank you for coming on, and look forward in the next week or so to talk Indianapolis 500 bets.
Can't wait. See you guys.
Good stuff as always. Like I said, go follow him if you're definitely into the betting aspect of IndyCar. Him and Tony and everyone else there definitely put out some good work for sure. We got a few more things to get to before we put a big bow on this show here and start our month of May coverage up. But before we get into anything else, we do need to pay a couple bills. So to say a huge thank you, first and foremost, to 2 great sponsors that have been here since day one of the Push to Pass podcast. First and foremost, Always Ready 1776 for all your patriotic apparel, headwear, and more. Go check out Always Ready 1776. You can find them on the web at alwaysready1776.com. And if you do choose to purchase something from there, make sure you use the promo code you see down at the bottom there, Push to Pass, for 10% off of your order. Also, huge thank you to Gettum Associates for all your home design and remodeling needs. It's Gettum Associates, and you can find them on the web as well at gettum.com. And if you do choose to go with a home design with them, use the promo code Push to Pass for $250 off any design service. Huge thank you both to Always Ready 1776 and Gettum Associates for being proud sponsors of the Push to Pass podcast. All right, getting back into the show. I know we're running a little longer than we normally do, but we do need to have two races that we are going to be discussing as we now can officially close the book on the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix. And now, ladies and gentlemen and fellas, it is now time for us to kick off our month of May coverage. And I know how excited both of you are for that. All three of us will be at the track at some sort of capacity this weekend for the Sonsio Grand Prix. Taking a look at that, let me pull up. I know I can only put in so many images at one time. So let me pull up the track map here for everybody that may be unfamiliar with what the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course looks like. Here it is a 2.43 mile, 14 turn road course that incorporates portions of turn 1 and turn 2 in the front stretch of the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval, and the remainder of the circuit is within the infield, allowing for great spectator view. Now, this will be a 85 lap, 207 mile race. So that is what the track map there looks like up there on screen. Next, let's get to a hot lap as to what to expect if you've never seen the Sonsio Grand Prix or any car go around the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course portion of the speedway. Let's take a hot lap. Was a hot lap, a classic hot lap, so to say, around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, as Michael was asking during where we found this at. So yeah, definitely a classic, an oldie but a goodie, as they say there in Back to the Future. But before we talk any more Grand Prix, we do have our official weatherman of the Push to Pass podcast joining us now. And weatherman, I have to say that you have a tremendous weather report coming up here on screen shortly, but I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so it's I don't even know what to say other than it's outstanding conditions really for folks that are attending this weekend, so Friday and Saturday. We should have a few rain showers, at least in the Indianapolis area, kind of early in the day Thursday, and then all that activity sinks down to the south. We get some high pressure to kind of build into the area, and then it looks great, really. Friday all the way through the rest of the weekend, not just Saturday, but right into Sunday. So I would look for winds to be a little bit breezy maybe in the afternoons, but nothing too crazy, nothing that we haven't seen in the past, especially at Indy this time of year. A little chilly in the morning. I'll throw that out there with temps in the 40s, but then it should warm up pretty good. And I'm actually, with this forecast that I had put out initially on Monday, I'm probably a little low on the high temps, I think. So next update, I'll probably bump them up a bit. But generally, you're looking at upper 60s into the low 70s in the afternoon. Very pleasant, very dry, low humidity. So, I mean, just perfect conditions for fans. So really straightforward. I know I'd actually posted a reply on X today to somebody that was already asking about next week, right? Which is still kind of in that range where our forecast accuracy isn't that great as we get into kind of 10 days out. But it does look like after Sunday, we get back to more seasonal type temps into the 80s. And then that kind of daily rain chance creeps back into the picture starting after Monday. But, you know, one event at a time. And we look pretty good for the GP this weekend.
Yeah, we definitely do. Hopefully, you know, nothing pops up over here the next couple days, because looks like this weekend, as we open up the month of May, as we've been talking about, is definitely going to be picturesque. The question that I have, Weatherman, do you foresee, looking at all the data that's presented to you, do you see that weather forecast changing within the next 24 to 48 hours going into the weekend?
So I don't think so. There is a little within the business we call low pressure trough, which is basically just kind of a not quite a front and not quite a full up low pressure system that kind of pushes from north to south on Saturday afternoon and late Saturday. And that's why I put some clouds in the forecast for the afternoon, essentially, because I think that's about the extent. It's very dry. So that's kind of the only weather feature, I guess, that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. And we'll see if that can pop up a little bit, maybe a few showers or something. But right now I'm not seeing that at all in any of the data. It just looks too dry. So we'll stick with clouds for the forecast, and I'll just keep one eye on it just in case.
Michael or Josh, before we let the weatherman go, any questions for him about the weekend?
No, not really. I mean, it looks like a good weekend. It'll be balmy. I guess kind of 70 on race day is a good high. Looks good to me.
I'm just thankful that it didn't get too much rain on this past Saturday during the Indy Mini. So I was hoping and praying for that, and yeah, good weather for this weekend as well.
Absolutely, weatherman. If something was to happen and change, we're all holding our breath there. Hopefully that doesn't. But if something were to change and you had to put out an updated forecast, where can people find your work at?
Yeah, so you can find me on X. You can see scrolling there on the bottom at IndyCar_WXman or Weatherman. And then I'm also posting over on Threads and Blue Sky, slightly different handles, depending on the naming conventions over on those sites. But if you search IndyCar Weatherman, my feeds should come right up. So.
All right. Good stuff as always. A huge thank you for joining us. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that the weekend is going to look as beautiful as it does.
All right. Sounds good, guys. You have a great night.
Definitely go give him a follow if you're interested in up-to-date, up-to-minute weather reports for the race coming up on Saturday, or any race for that matter. Definitely good knowledge to have. All right, let's pick our conversation back up here. We were talking Sonsio Grand Prix this weekend. Let's take a look at what the weekend schedule is going to look like if you have not seen that yet. There it is. I was able to make that a little bigger for everyone. So everything's going to get kicked off Friday morning, early morning. So make sure you got your coffee in hand at 9:30 over there on FS2 for practice number 1. Then later in the day, 1 p.m. all Eastern Standard Time again, Fox Sports 2 is that second practice. And then later in the day is going to be qualifying for the Sonsio Grand Prix at 4:30 p.m. on FS1. Keep that in mind. You're going to go from FS2 on Friday to FS1 on Friday. And then Saturday morning, about 11:30, you're going to have that last warm-up session before things get kicked off over there on FS1. And then after that, we're going to go into pre-race coverage. If you have Sirius satellite radio, that pre-race show is going to be kicked off around 4:00 p.m. I believe. If you have Sirius XM, I believe IndyCar radio is channel 218. I believe you may want to check that, but I'm about 95% sure that it is channel 218. And then everything gets ramped up at around 4:30 on the main station there, Fox, for the race, the Sonsio Grand Prix. So make sure that you're looking at the schedule. If you have any questions whatsoever, just refer back to that for dates and times. All right, let's take a look now at some of the past winners. I know we've been talking about these. Mike talked about them as well on the betting segment. But let's take a look at some of the past winners. Now, you guys have not seen this graphic yet. Josh, Michael, I put a lot of hard work into this graphic, so I hope you guys like this. But here are some of the past winners of the Sonsio Grand Prix. We talked about the Alex Palou 2024, 2023, and then his teammate Scott Dixon in 2023. Colton Herta was on pole and took the race there in 2022. Another winner in 2022, Alexander Rossi. 2021, Renus VK. Again, 2021, Will Power. Scott Dixon claimed victory in 2020. So did Joseph Newgarden, and again, Will Power. And then you have to go all the way back to 2018, where you find another active winner, Will Power. 2017, Will Power. 2015, Will Power. So you're kind of hearing a theme here. So that is some of the past winners of this road course race. Active winners know how to find their way to the front, and then maybe there'll be a new champion that we'll be able to crown here after Saturday's race. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Fellas, I kind of want to get your thoughts here, input as we roll into our coverage the month of May. Obviously, we have to get the Sonsio Grand Prix out of the way before we really get into the meat and potatoes, which is the Indianapolis 500. But Josh, first thoughts on what we're about to see on Saturday.
First, I can't believe there's been 13 of these races. I didn't realize they had been doing this Grand Prix that long. That surprised me. But I mean, pretty much everybody that's won this race is still active, I think, if my brain reminds me correctly. So it's anybody's race. Double the two-time defending champion coming in, Alex Palou, is going to be your favorite. But from that graphic, it shows that a handful of people could win this with the experience that some of them have. So it'll be a good kickoff to May. Once we get past this, then we get into the quote unquote, the older, the traditional May. But with qualifying and practice and carb day, as we all love carb day, and can't wait for that concert, except for Brett Michaels. But I can't wait. It'll be an interesting time this weekend.
Yeah, the one driver that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on is Christian Lundgaard. We've talked about him quite a bit on this show tonight, but his worst finish there at the road course was 12th, and that was in his first season driving the 45 Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Honda, and he's not finished outside the top 10 since. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him. I think if anyone can dethrone Palou, it could be Lundgaard. And yeah, he's second in the points, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do this weekend. And he's in a better car than he's been ever. So he does have a pole a couple years back, so definitely looking forward to seeing what Lundgaard can do. I know Mike talked a lot about betting, and if I had any extra money, I'd probably throw it towards Lundgaard. And that's just looking at the previous years and the stats. That's what I would do.
I think right now that may be the best person, as you said, to dethrone Alex Palou is Christian Lundgaard. The momentum he has that he's gained since the 3 straight podium finishes now. So I think you're absolutely right, and that's definitely someone I'm going to keep my eye on, as well as you two are as well. We will have every angle of this weekend's Sonsio Grand Prix covered. Like I said, all 3 of us in some capacity will be out at the track Friday and Saturday, so make sure you're keeping your pulse there on the Push to Pass X or Twitter handle, whatever generation that you grew up in. We will definitely be updating things from track as they. One last thing before we went over longer than what we normally do, but definitely some interesting news to discuss here before we drop the checkered flag on this episode. If you missed any of tonight, it'll be up there as soon as the show is over with. And if you like it, we please ask that you like it and share it, because we're definitely picking up steam with our viewership, especially when it comes to our YouTube shorts that we've been putting out after every show as well. So definitely like and share the video far and wide. But the news I was talking about earlier today, Fox fellas did release the viewership numbers from this past weekend at Barber. And if you're a Fox executive, and even an IndyCar executive for that matter, I think you have to be happy in some capacity with the results that Fox released this past weekend. Compared to last year's race on NBC, Fox drew an audience of 914,000 views. That's compared to the audience that the NBC had last year for the race. It was just 762,000. So that is a 151,146 uptick when viewers, or if you're a percentage guy, that's almost 20% at 19.8% more viewers than what NBC had last year. Also, too, according to Fox, through the first 4 races of this season, and while averaging almost 900,000 viewers at 899,000 to be exact, that's over 720,000 that NBC averaged in 2024. Now, a viewership by race, St. Petersburg obviously has drawn the biggest viewership at 1.4 million. That's 45.4% over NBC in 2024. The Thermal Club took a huge hit. They were 10.7% in 2024. Long Beach was recorded at 552,000 viewers. That's up at Barber weekend, 151,146 viewers, and that is up almost 20% over NBC in 2024. As like I said, before we drop the checkered flag, curious to get your take on the TV numbers that Fox.
Always a good thing to come close to 1 million viewers, especially on a Sunday. They went, if you watch the pre-race of NASCAR, they went head to head with NASCAR, and to be able to pull in almost 1 million viewers was spectacular for them, and that's got to be a big feather in both Fox and IndyCar's hat. Yeah, feather in their cap, as they would say. So it's exciting. It's exciting. Let's see if they can pull in some good numbers this coming Saturday for Sonsio, and see where we go.
It's good, I guess. It definitely needs to be better. I looked at the numbers from Josh mentioned the NASCAR race. They got 2.5 million viewers, and the Formula One race got 2.1 million viewers. So still a little bit behind. And we just got to keep working, putting out content. Building the brand, helping build the brand. That's what it's all about. So. Excited for this month. This is a good time to get some content out, build some boost for the series, because that's what they need. Try and get more eyes on Fox and see what we can do from there.
Definitely agree with what Josh and Michael said. Definitely get as much content as you can out. Obviously, with this being the month of May, it's the Super Bowl of IndyCar, so definitely get as much content as you can out. Get as many eyeballs on the product as possible. Michael, I know you put out an article today. We couldn't quite get it fit in the show, but a quick synopsis for everyone. The article that you published today over at yournews.com.
Sure, real quick. Winners, I had Alex below, Christian Lundgaard. We pretty much talked about both of those. Renus VK as well. I did give some props to Will Buxton and Fox. I think Will's brought in a lot of that speed and talking from Formula One. I know my wife always talks. She knows what race I'm watching based on what the commentators are talking about, because Formula One is nonstop. They talk. There's no commercials. They can make a wet napkin seem exciting. So Will's brought that over. I love the new cutaway car that they're using to help explain things to fans. That's incredible. You don't get that in a lot of series. Fox has done really well with that. Nolan Siegel, his first top 10 of the year for Arrow McLaren. We talked about Arrow a little bit. Then we come to my losers. Scott Dixon started 26th. Didn't really. I mean, he made his way up 13 spots, which is good. But for champion caliber team and a champion driver, you expect more. 4 races this year. Chevrolet has not won any of them. The hybrid really isn't helping them out much. And then finally, I talked about Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. We kind of touched bases on them with the leader circle earlier. Both, you got 2 cars outside, and there's no hope right now. The last 2 years, we've had a Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan car miss the Indy 500. So they've got to find some speed. Their only hope was Takuma Sato, and he crashed his primary car in testing. So, yeah, it's a uphill climb for them. I know they're rebuilding, or actually building. They're not rebuilding. That Sato car was completely destroyed. So, they're building a new car for him. So, they've got a lot of pressure on them. Is this another year where they're going to, miss a Indy 500? Because I don't know that they can lose another car from the Indy 500 and then have 2 cars outside the leader circle. That would be a real detriment to that team.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Josh, anything else you want to add before we drop the checkered flag here?
Nope, just glad it's May, and we're gonna get some good races and some good track time coming up.
Definitely can't agree with that more. Huge thank you to everybody that tuned in this evening. Everybody on YouTube, X, Twitter, Instagram. Huge thank you to everyone. Make sure you like the show down there in the bottom, and then subscribe to the channel. Definitely want to try to build that out as much as possible. Continue to get that viewership up. Huge thank you to Mike for joining us, as he always does, to talk betting, and then the official weatherman of the Push to Pass podcast for giving us such a picture-esque perfect forecast for this weekend. Like I said, all three of us will be out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend in some capacity. So if you do see us stop by, tell us hi. Tell us how much you like the show. Tell us how much you hate the show. Whatever you want to do, but to definitely tell us that you support the Push to Pass podcast. And also, too, if you run into one of us particularly, you may be able to get a prize from the Push to Pass podcast. I know Josh was working on something, so keep that in mind as well. But definitely, if you missed any part of the show, again, go back, like the show, like the channel, subscribe to it, and hopefully you enjoy the content that we put out here on the NTT IndyCar series. So for myself, Josh, Michael, and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we'll be back in 1 week's time to review and discuss what we witnessed at the Sonsio Grand Prix this weekend. And then finally, the big enchilada, as they like to say. We will now turn our focus to the Indianapolis 500 again. So for myself and Josh and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, until next week, so long, everybody.
The NTT IndyCar Series is back on track.
Power's going to take a shot. He'll shoot to the inside of Alex Below. It's a good battle out of turn 8.
Alex Below with the wide swing to the outside retaining wall. Then guides it back to the inside wall. He weaves across the start-finish line.
That's the way to kick off the month of May.
Listen to the NTT IndyCar Series on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Live this